Well, I was hoping to assemble the smoke box complete and put it on the chassis, but you can get it on the boiler by itself and you can get it on the chassis by itself, but you can't do both at the same time. So I've had to take a little bit of a backward step. I've disconnected the front steam pipe and the gas pipe at the back, so the boiler is actually free when I take out the screw in the bottom, and that will give me a chance of assembling the smoke box on the front and then dropping it down onto the chassis. Meanwhile, I've done a little bit of assembly on the smoke box door and its magnetic closing clip, but I'm not going to put those in yet because I've got to get into the smoke box to do the steam pipe. So this one has a little magnet set in this baffle plate, then the insulation, then the door. It's all held on with that handle. And this one has the opposite magnet connected here, and that will bolt on the back inside the smoke box. And just make sure that the magnets are the right way around, because they can be set up to repel rather than attract, and then it automatically opens the door rather than closing it for you. And one final thing to do before we go too much further, the blast pipe is bending to shape. So I've got the blast pipe into the top of the valve block there, tightened it up to its tight spot, just nip it up with a pair of pliers and put a little bit of a bend in it. But that's going to have to come out again now, but it's ready for fitting when we've got the smoke box on. So I've taken off the chimney, I've got the smoke box just with its accessories and the insulation inside. And with the boiler free, I can get the boiler on the front of the smoke box on the front of the boiler and then drop it down onto the angle brackets on the chassis. And now that is ready for reassembly of these small parts. So now we've got to fiddle about inside the smoke box, connect up this steam pipe, which you can get to through the front, and then I've also re-tightened the steam pipe that I loosened off at the back. Got one there and one down here. So that's all in. Now we can think about putting in the blast pipe. We have to do this before the chimney goes in, because otherwise you can't actually get in there. Let's just hold that through the top, get it in its right place, and then we should be able to just turn it round and round until it's tight. So I've aligned the blast pipe central to the chimney, and that's tight in the block at the bottom. Now I need to put over these parts to hold the chimney on. So when the chimney goes in, you've got a plate and then the nut, which has disappeared down the bottom. So I finished off the smoke box by adding the lamp bracket and putting the magnet holder inside the smoke box there to match this little magnet on the door, and then finally fit the door itself, which is just with a little pin. I might need a spot of Loctite to hold it in place. There's the door working. Just had to push that magnet back a touch to get the door to close right up. So we've got it sufficiently far forward to be able to do a little steam test. That should be reverse. There she goes. Nice and smooth. I filled up the boiler, and you can see it on the water gauge here. See the water level. Filled up the gas in the gas filler valve for the tank. Took a little while to get the valve to actually turn on and off. And I put some clean oil in the lubricator at the front. Fired her up and away we go. Take forward. That's one of the nice steady pace really. Moving on to page 11, we've got the cab and bunkers to fit. So we'll just have a look at those parts. There's the cab, which is a complete unit. I'm going to take the roof off just for the sake of convenience. And that's the bunker to go on the back. There's some handrails to go in, and there's a top to go in the bunker. But before I actually finish this, I'm going to put some extra weight in the back here. If you're radio controlling the model, this is where your batteries go and it'll keep the model balanced. But because it's quite a long overhang at the front, I'm going to add some weight in the bunker before it actually goes together. And there's also some detail parts to put on the cab, most easily done in this stage before we actually get to fitting it onto the body. But that's where it'll go. So this is only going to be a short little burst, but before I put the cab on, I've fitted the whistle and this little pipe fitting and the linkage for the valves that work the injectors. They're much more easy to get on before you actually assemble onto the loco. So the last part of this stage is getting the screws in underneath along here to hold the cab on. I've fitted the bunker with some weight in the back of it, and that should just about complete stage 11 for us. And the weight in the back, you can see how, even though it's not got its front pony truck on, it's sitting squarely on all four drivers. Now we're moving on to page 12, and we've got parts. There's dome, there's a blower pipe that goes from the blower fitting into the cab, there's a base for the pony truck, and two wheel sets for the two different gauges. So we've got to choose which one we're going to go for. We've moved on to page 12 now, and this involves various detail parts on the left hand side of the loco. So we've added blower pipe, injector pipes and the dome, and we've also got the pony truck, which are those two components. We've got a choice of gauge, so we've got to choose which gauge we're building it to, and to fit it let's take the roof off first. There's the roof, comes free quite easily. We turn it upside down, and the pony truck sits on that little pivot there. There's a spring at the front. While it's upside down, we've also put a little bit of rubber tube on the water gauge blowdown, just so it doesn't burn your fingers when you operate it. On page 13 we have the parts to finish the details on this side and the plates. I've fitted those ones, and the ones on this side I'm about to do, and I'll show you my technique. So I've put a bit of masking tape right through the middle of the plate, and then I've lined the plate up on the tank, measuring the edges so that you've got it central, top and bottom. Then I can flip it back, take the double-sided tape off, let's try a different corner. There we go. And now carefully fold it back to the spot where it was before. And and she's there. The reason for doing the tape halfway through the plate is you can then also line up the second plate in the same manner. Just be careful with this one to get it the right way up. It's got some tiny writing on it, so don't get it upside down. So she's now finished. I've set the wheels out to 45mm along with the pony truck, and I'm trying her on this very tight radius curve, LGB first radius, and it looks like she'll be alright. So we'll give her a steam up a bit later. In the meantime, we've got these components left over, so there's a good selection of nuts and bolts, alternative chimney and alternative pony truck. We'll keep those as spares in one of the plastic bags. And this box is all the paperwork and plastic bags that have come from the kit. And we're going to go through, check out the paperwork and keep the plastic bags. It looks like it should be more or less a lifetime supply.